a Playlyst original.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast,
where we review the pilot episodes of TV shows to answer your question, should I watch this?
My name is BJ.
And my name is Mitu.
This week, we're watching The Residence on Netflix.
So stay tuned to the end to find out BJ's favorite locked door mystery.
Oh, you do have more experience with that genre, but I'll try to think of a good answer.
All right. Until then, let me tell you what happened in The Residence.
Please.
Cordelia Cup, played by Uzo Aduba, is an eccentric detective who is tasked with solving a murder that took place during a state dinner at the White House.
We're locked in the White House, and we have a body on the floor.
And a bunch of Australians.
Yes, and there's a lot of tension. This is a dramatic opening. What did you think?
I recently read a really wonderful newsletter by John Paul Brommer of the Hola Papi Substack about the movie Conclave. And he opened his review of that movie with, I'm going to be transparent with you, asking me to review a dialogue-driven papal thriller where the bad guy is a cardinal who vapes is like asking a dog to review a scoop of peanut butter. And I felt very similarly about this television program. Asking me to review a show where Uzo Aduba is a quirky, smart, self-aware, birding detective who is brought into the White House in the outfit she's wearing to solve a crime, and the people around her include Giancarlo Esposito, Randall Park, Ken Marino. It is akin to asking my dog to review a piece of chicken.
All produced by Shondaland.
I'm sorry, it's very difficult for me to be objective about this one. But I do think we can start with Uzo Aduba as Cordelia. Obviously want to ground this conversation in the fact that she is one of only 2 actors in history to win an Emmy for comedy and drama for the same role.
An impressive feat.
For an impressive actor.
And she pulls off the quirkiness along with the competency. At no point do you doubt her skills. And it's still amusing how chill she is with the fact that there has been a murder.
Yes, and I love that we get the classic moments in a mystery where she talks about everything wrong with the room, which then shows how smart she is, because they're very quick to say that the person who has been killed has ended their own life. And she's like, nope, that's in the window, that's by the door, that's on his person, this is here, this is there, this doesn't look right. And I love those very Monk, Psych, Elsbeth, Jessica Fletcher, etc. moments where they're looking around the room and they're like, this cup is turned this way, should be turned this way, this book is turned inside out, whatever it is, to show that everyone in the room is wrong and they're right.
And it makes sense in this universe. Everyone wants to clean this up very quickly. They don't want to make a big news story about there being a murder, especially during this diplomatic dinner event with Australians. And it's fun to see the frustration of people like Harry Hollinger, played by Ken Marino, the president's chief advisor, who's like, stop poking holes into this story. You are looking too deep into it.
Yes.
Dead person, done, wrap it up.
That's what I love about, and maybe we can get into this a little bit, the pun intended red herrings of people. I think we're supposed to be suspicious of Harry because he wants to wrap this up so intensely. But then you just have to remember the context of the fact that he's the president's advisor. He wants this to go away. He wishes this never happened. He does not need these things to go wrong on this night with his primary person, the president, there.
This is poor timing. People are downstairs trying to have a good time.
Kylie Minogue
is performing. We also have Jasmine Haney, played by Susan Watson, who is the assistant usher who wants a promotion but is a little worried about how that looks now. And it's interesting that we start the episode with her and from her perspective, even before meeting Cordelia.
Yes. To me, she's definitely another red herring, but I love that we opened with her. Susan Kelechi Watson is such a talented actor. And we have that classic opening for a mystery where someone's like in an interrogation room or speaking directly to camera where it's like, you want to know how it all started? Takes a long drag of the cigarette. I'll tell you. And in this case, instead of a cigarette, instead of an interrogation room, she is in a Senate hearing.
I will say, though, some of these flashback, flash forwards were a little too smooth. For example, there was a scene in an elevator where she had a memory of another experience in the elevator. And it got a little confusing about whether or not this was actually happening in real time or in the past.
That's true. There were a couple moments where I was a little turned around.
Mm-hmm. But it worked.
But I still enjoyed it.
So what do you think of this style of mystery solving crime case?
I love a locked door mystery, truly. I know we talked about this a little bit beforehand, but it feels very Clue, where there's like 10 people in this room. And aside from the Australians and Kylie Minogue, where it has to be one of these people. This is the White House. No people in, no people out that we're unaware of to this point. You know, we'll see if there are some additional players. And so we know that it needs to be one of these fancy, high-profile people or this White House staff. And so I love that where then everyone is a little bit suspicious, but the storytelling, even though you have a lot of people to cover, the setting is tight.
It is tight. I still have some concerns about how many people they need to check through, interview. They mentioned there are 157 personnel on the residence.
Yes.
That's a lot of faces.
That's true. But I think for a classic locked door mystery, it can't be someone outside of, I think the rule is like everyone you spend a certain amount of time with in the first act. Like it has to be one of those people. It can't be like, again, we're talking about the general rules of mystery. Obviously, I don't know if this show follows that.
You know it all. Let us know.
But it can't be like, you know, we find out in the last episode that a random assassin was hired and parachuted into the White House, killed this person and left.
Like, it actually was just a heart attack and all these other awkward things happened to make it look like a murder.
Yes, it is more likely that Kylie Minogue did it than something like that because of who is introduced in the first bit.
So are you saying we have seen the murderer in this pilot episode?
Yes, absolutely we have.
Ooh.
If it is a classic locked door mystery, yes.
Any guesses?
I don't have any guesses yet. And I know this is a cop-out, but I love that Cordelia is very intentional about not saying, I think they did it, or I think this happened. But she's like, let me tell you a little bit about birding, and let me tell you about the importance of just observation and gathering facts.
Yeah, I guess quickly going on to that, she does bring in her birding facts and habits into her case-solving approach. She mentions how birds can focus in on food and like drown out any other distractions. And we see her do that when all the sound goes away and she's just looking around the room for anything out of place.
Yes. The other thing I really enjoyed is this is funny. The birding, like watching her on the lawn with the birding was very funny. The head of the DC MPD, Larry Dokes, played by Isaiah Whitlock Jr., his interactions with Harry Hollinger were very funny. There's a very inappropriate thing that Harry shouts at him, and then Larry gives it right back in such a funny way that genuinely I laughed out loud. And I was surprised by the chemistry between Uzo Aduba and Randall Park, who played an FBI agent, Edwin Park, who was basically like, I think, intending to take the lead on this and then just immediately understood that Cordelia was the boss here.
Also, hasn't Randall Park played this same role like 5 times already?
Yes. And specifically, I feel like as a number 2 to like a strong, smart woman. So love this niche for him. And he continues to do it very well. I thought they were so funny together. And I mean, not to give away my rating, but I was like, I want to see these two on the case everywhere. Like, I want this to be like Knives Out, where we just have different seasons and she's called into this place or that place and she keeps solving mysteries. And Randall Park is
Oh.
just chasing behind her, trying to figure out what's going on while it's happening.
Well, we know Shonda loves to do multiple seasons of her shows.
True.
And I think they already set it up with Cordelia having a reputation of being a great detective. So that does open up more seasons for her to solve new cases.
That's true. It was nice how her reputation preceded her so tremendously. And then she had a great closing line, which I know Shonda Rhimes did not write this episode, nor do I think she's the show creator. I think she's a producer on it. But the closing line of this first episode felt like a very big closing line of a How to Get Away with Murder episode.
Yes.
If you know, you know. The commercials that were like 9 words will change everything. That's what the closing line of this felt like.
It was a satisfying final scene where you're like, oh, okay, where are we going next episode?
These people are not playing around.
Actually, a lot happened in that final scene.
Mm-hmm.
So me too. I guess to summarize, what are your feelings about The Resident on Netflix?
In the same way that if I went downstairs right now and opened my dog's little container of her boiled chicken and she would come sprinting for another piece, that is the enthusiasm with which I will continue watching this show. If you are Mystery Hive, if you are Nancy Drew Hive, if you are Locked Door Mystery Hive, if you like a cozy mystery, any of these things, you will really enjoy The Residents. If you are someone who recognizes the talent of Uzo Aduba, you will enjoy this show. It is a great vehicle for how talented she is as an actor, like a grounded performance, but then also quirky and funny and silly. It's just really good.
I agree. I don't think I share the same level of enthusiasm you truly are in Mystery Hive.
Yes.
But this is a strong would watch again seriously. I like the premise. I like Shondaland Productions. And I think they set up a really interesting case.
That's true. And then hopefully we'll see so many more.
Yeah. Also, I learned about the chief usher. Didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it made sense. I was like, I get why this role exists in the White House. And today I learned.
Yeah.
So with that, what is your favorite locked door mystery?
I thought that was a hard question. Then I remember the classic movie Clue.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, I can rewatch that over and over.
It's so funny with Clue that I truly have watched that film so many times and I still enjoy it. You would think the reveal is the big part of that movie, and it is not.
It's not. But even the reveal is always fun to watch every time.
Yes, the multiple endings, classic.
Well, if you want to see how we end our episodes differently each time, you can find them on thepilotpodcast.com, and you can follow us on all of your favorite podcast platforms.
You can also follow us on social media at thepilotpod, and you can send thoughts, feelings, show recommendations, your favorite mysteries, books, movies, TV, anything, to askthepilotpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
Bye.